I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
What's going on, Colts fans? I'm Lawrence Owen with my guys Rodney, McLeod, Jerraud Powers. We're back here with Believe in Colts. And wow, what a past 24 hours. What a past 7 days. I mean, the Indianapolis Colts have now lost 2 in a row. They lost their offensive coordinator, their head coach, and then hired a head coach with no college or pro coaching experience. And we're going to get into yesterday's game and the hiring, the firing, and the press conference in just a moment. But before we get started, I just want to say basketball is back. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline as your continued source for all sports wagering information. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on your favorite sports and events, whether it's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. Head to betonline.ag to receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Well, Jerraud, we're going to start with you about yesterday's game. All right. After watching that game, man, what was your impressions of the team overall from what you saw about that dismal performance by the offense?
Kind of, what it's been all year. Defense is, trying their best to, keep the team in the game, hang in there. But as a defense, you can only do so much until things start wearing down a little bit, especially on the road. Sam, I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's expected, but I didn't expect him to, come in and just be the savior of the offense. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of issues going on with the offense to where, if when we started the pod, before the season, I was the one that said, like, if Sam has to play, that means our offense is in trouble. And obviously we got a lot of issues with our offense right now, offensive line. The Patriots defense pretty much had their way. But I thought our defense, played tough, got turnovers, played with enthusiasm, played with energy, excited to be out there. But like I said, you can only do so much, with one phase of the game. But a lot of stuff been happening with the Colts. And I mean, obviously you can see this thing unraveling a little bit. And, and we're here today with all the headlines and everything coming through Indy.
Yeah, it definitely is. Rodney, yesterday, the defense again came out and poured their heart and soul onto the field. You gave up 203 total yards the entire night, only gave up like 35% third down completion percentage. Just only 3.3 yards per play, to the Patriots. I think you guys did a really good job. How hard is it to just keep playing and keep that same enthusiasm and stuff all the way to the end in a game that was turning out the way it was late in the third and the fourth quarter, like yesterday?
Yeah, I think our mindset on defense is, we don't blink until that clock hits 0-0. I think as we go throughout that game, we understand kind of where we are, as a team. And, it's kind of on us to ensure that we limit the points, we create turnovers, we create short fields for our offense right now. And, as we go throughout that game, we just kept stressing, we have to find a way to create some more momentum, create a turnover. And Bobby did that at a very clutch time, for our defense. And, we actually had a couple other opportunities that we missed out on. Right now we're being very critical of ourselves and, analyzing it all, right? And how can we steal a possession, gain another possession through a turnover and just looking at the film in that way. But, as you go throughout the game, man, you just focus on what you can control. And, for us, that's how we perform on defense each and every week. And understanding, it's a team sport, man. And at the end of the day, regardless of what side of the ball is performing at, the highest level. Like, we all bleed blue right now, and we all feel the same, struggles and disappointment from that game, and understanding, man, that's not to the level of our standard at all. The performance we put out there as a team on Sunday versus the Patriots, like we spoke about last week, man, who was a rivalry of ours. There's great history there. And it felt like, it was we let a lot of people down. Guys like Jerraud, who played and put that uniform on, man, and went to battle. And so we have to wear that. We have to own that and understand where we are right now. But, the great thing about it is we still have another opportunity next week to go out there once again and put it on the line and find a way to get this team back on track, because reality is there's a lot of ball to be played. But we obviously have to believe in ourselves, continue to trust in one another, and stay together, through it all, based on, what's occurred for us as an organization, and knowing that there's going to be a lot of noise out there, and we just have to continue to block that out, and just worry about what's important, and that's getting the win this upcoming Sunday.
Okay, Jerraud, after yesterday's dismal offensive performance where the Indianapolis Colts their offense, they didn't convert 1 third down. They got 121 total yards of offense. They were sacked 9 times. Where's the blame fall? I mean, obviously Frank Reich has been fired, but does he deserve all the blame? And should we be giving a little bit of credit to Bill Belichick and his team for the game as it turned out, or should we be looking almost all within on something like that?
I don't think it's just one person to blame. Like Rodney alluded to, it's a team sport, and everybody has to do their part of the puzzle for the puzzle to be complete. So it's not all on Sam, it's not all on the offensive line, it's not all on the wide receivers. It's everybody, man. Everybody, from coaches to players, on that side of the ball. But on the flip side, I mean, Bill Belichick is not going to let second-year quarterback with no experience go out there and just torch him. He's been notorious for making young quarterbacks look awful when they play the Patriots. That's been like his thing over the years. So, I mean, it's a tough matchup for Sam's first road game, in New England. And obviously New England has its own struggles and its own problems as well that they're trying to fix and get to. And it looks like they're doing a good job in doing that. But when you switch quarterbacks, especially when you're talking about Matt Ryan and going to Sam, you don't have the same offensive scheme or play calling that you would with a veteran like Matt in there. You're calling plays that you feel like Sam would be able to handle, be comfortable with, and doing things like that. So a lot of times when you got young players in these prominent positions that's never played and never and don't have the experience, sometimes it kind of I guess put you in almost like a chokehold on what you can do offensively. Because like I said, Sam don't have the reps, don't have the experience yet to be, I guess, for the coaches just to open the entire playbook. And like I said, when you're facing Bill Belichick with an inexperienced quarterback, I mean, it don't matter if it was the Colts or if it was the Kansas City Chiefs. If you got an inexperienced quarterback going against Bill Belichick, man, you're going to have your hands full that night. And obviously we had our hands full.
Absolutely. So full that yesterday some really big moves happened for the Indianapolis Colts. Really, I mean, they don't get much bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
So, Rodney, we're going to talk about now, the head coaching moves that was happened with Ballard and Irsay yesterday, firing Frank Reich, hiring Jeff Saturday. In that situation, obviously we knew that Frank Reich, after the game, his job was in trouble, right? Because the offensive coordinator was fired last week, and if the offense looked any worse, that most likely his job was on the line as well. And it looked much, much worse. But when you went in to when you had your team meeting yesterday, what was the general feeling of yourself and just the locker room itself with the news of the firing of Frank Reich, and when you're told who your new head coach was going to be?
Yeah, for us as players, it definitely came. It was a shock. I would say you kind of sit there and now try to figure out where are we going. Who is going to now be leading us ultimately, right, for the remainder of this season, and you kind of just looking for a sense of direction at that point. And I think everybody just starts to really look themselves in the mirror and say, tomorrow isn't promised for anyone, right? When you start to see the moves that are being made inside the organization week to week, really over the course of this past month, I guess we should say, right? From, Matt to Sam to losing, Marcus, and then now Frank. It makes you realize and understand that this is a productive business, and
Yep.
you have to have that mindset not only every week but every day that you enter that building. And that's something that I try to make sure that I demonstrate, as being an 11-year vet, when I walk into that every day. I walk into that building, and in my conversations with younger guys, and and it's nothing to, don't live in fear, but just understand how this game works.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for us, now we have that clarity in who's going to be leading us moving forward. Somebody that obviously has the accolades, right, when it comes to being a former player, as Chef Saturday was, hell of a player for the Colts over his years. Won a championship, kind of understands what it takes, and comes from a player perspective. And some clips I've seen, he seems like, he was a great leader for not only that offensive line, but that offensive unit. So, I'm excited to, now have him step in. But at the end of the day, man, it comes down to, it doesn't really matter who's standing in front of us, to be honest. It really comes down to us as players getting it done on that field.
Absolutely.
We make everything come to life. We're the ones out there playing, and we have to make sure we have the right mindset moving forward. Make sure we have the right heart, moving forward. Like, nothing changes. You feel me? Now that this move has been made, nothing changes for us. It's still go out there and win games. We still have a lot of ball to be played, and quite frankly, you are what you put on tape. And so we have to make sure that when we go out there, man, we're putting our best foot forward, and we're putting our best product on tape, because this will not only, determine our fate for this season, but a lot of our fates individually, right? Because they're closely evaluating. This is going to determine our character, not only as a team, but as individuals. You feel me? This tests your character in times of struggle and adversity. You quickly see, what guys are made of. And so I believe we do have the right guys. Hopefully, now, Jeff can figure out a way to obviously, motivate us, inspire us, that much more to continue to push forward, bring his experience and cultural, I guess, persona and things that he's things that he was a part of while he was here in the Colts, and hopefully that puts us in a great position moving forward. But also like to take the time to say, man, you never want to see anyone, be let go,
To lose their job,
man. And much respect to Frank and what he's been able to do over the course of his time here, and as a Colts head coach. And, I have a great deal of respect for him, and, wish him all the best moving forward.
Man, I'm glad you brought that up about Frank, because when I was in Indy, way back in the day, 2009. Frank was the QB coach. So I knew Frank before he like moved up the ranks and, became who he is. But when you look at Frank's tenure as the coach, man, you're talking about somebody that got there and had Luck for 1 year, and then Luck retired, and everything else was kind of, trying to figure it out, trying to get the quarterback and all that. So he was kind of put in a tough position, with the Luck, surprise retiring, because everybody know if you don't have a quarterback at the helm, it's hard to win games. And I feel like Frank was kind of put in an unfortunate situation, coming to Indy thinking like, hey, we got a quarterback of the future that, could be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And, you have all these plans and all these goals going forward on how you want to, lead the Colts, and then boom, your franchise quarterback retire, and then it almost feels like you had to hit a reset and and get things figured out. So like you said, man, I hate for coaches to lose their job, because sometimes as fans you forget that these are these guys' livelihood. This is how they're taking care of their family. They got children and kids that watch ESPN, that see all these reports and see what people are saying about their dads and things of that nature. So I feel for Frank, because I do feel like he tried to do everything possible that he could do in his hands to help this team. It's just an unfortunate situation. Like Rodney said, it's a productive business, and and head coaches are judged off wins and losses. And when the losses start to add up, obviously as a business, you got to do what's best for the business at the end of the day.
Jerraud, you spent some time on the team with Jeff Saturday, who's now the head coach.
Oh yeah,
correct? And I want you to tell people your thoughts about the man, the player, and how you are kind of foreseeing how he is going to lead this Colts team as the interim head coach this season.
Well, I think Rodney and the guys that probably never met Jeff, obviously not now, but didn't know Jeff or met Jeff, prior to this happening, I think they'll see very quickly how passionate Jeff is. Man, he's a blue collar guy. Wakes up, put his hard hat on, and that's who he is. I mean, Jeff was an undrafted guy that played 15 years in the NFL, was an undersized center, and protected obviously arguably the greatest quarterback in the history of the game for his whole career. But he's a tremendous leader. He's personal. He understands what players go through. He understands the locker room. He's won a ton of games as a player. He was involved in some great teams. But I think even Jeff would tell you, he's not, getting this job and having people thinking like he's going to be like this savior, like it's going to happen overnight. I think that, he's pretty much at the head of this team right now to make sure everything stays intact, make sure the locker room stays intact, make sure guys mentally stay focused. He has a lot of great assistant coaches around him. I mean, you talk about some of the past players that play for the coach that's now on that team that played with Jeff, and Cato June and Reggie Wayne and all those guys. All those guys played together in the prime of their careers. So I think Jeff is going to bring excitement. He's going to bring passion. He's going to bring a different level of intensity that Frank maybe had. Frank was more of the laid back persona. But if you do enough wrong things, Frank will raise his voice. He'll get after some guys if he have to. But I think Jeff is going to bring some excitement, some energy back in the building, and let guys know like we still got 8 more games to play, 9 more games to play. We can still write our own chapter in this book that we're doing right now. So I know everybody was kind of shocked into hire. I was even shocked. I kind of want to ask Jeff. I might hit Jeff up and ask him, who all did he ask, to take this position before it got to him? Because I feel like he might have asked Reggie. He might have asked Peyton. He might have asked a lot of guys before he got to Jeff. But
I think in the presser, Jim Irsay was asked, who all was asked, and he said Jeff was the only guy that he asked to take the job.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I think it shocked a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I mean, nobody was expecting a guy that's never been coaching to be the interim head coach. I mean, but at that same token, we're talking about Jim Irsay, man. I mean, you look at the history of Jim Irsay being the owner of the Colts, man. He's done
some unorthodox things, you know, as an owner. And this is just another piece to his legacy and what he's doing. But a win will solve everything. We go out there and win Sunday, and everybody will forget about everything that's been happening the past 2 weeks, and everybody will get back on board and trying to just make sure we're focusing on winning games at the end of the day. Winning solves everything. Like, what can Rodney and the guys do to kind of get things back in order as far as everybody back focused? And I'm gonna let Rodney answer, but like Rodney said, man, when stuff like this happen, everybody's job is now on the line. So you're not gonna have guys going in there not motivated, if that makes sense, because you can still get cut today. You know, at the end of the day, you can still lose your job. I remember when Peyton had the neck injury in 2011 and couldn't play, and it was kind of a last-second deal, like right at the beginning of the season. You know, everybody said he couldn't play or whatever, and we had to go with quarterbacks that we just wasn't, you know, equipped, or they wasn't ready, and we ended up going 3-13. So we knew some changes was going to happen, but that was the talk of the locker room. Every time we walked in the locker room, guys was reminding each other, like, hey, job is on the line. Like, don't come in here, you know, and have the same mindset as our record right now, because you will lose your job. And then boom, Chuck Pagano gets the job, and they literally cut like 15, 20 guys. I'm talking, as soon as he got the job, he cut like 15, 20 guys. So Rodney is absolutely right when he says you are what you put on film. And even though things might not be where we want them to be as a team, every day everybody's getting evaluated in that building. So you'll have guys walking into the building motivated, because some are motivated because contracts might be up, money situation. Some are motivated just because they want more playing time or whatever the situation may be. But guys know that they're being evaluated, especially when all eyes are on you now in the building. New interim head coach, record's not what it needs to be, just fired the head. Like, all these things are happening, and you best believe the players know that the eyes are on them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with Jerraud on those points. And this is actually my first time experiencing a coaching change in mid-season in my career. So to Jerraud's point, like, I know what it feels like to be a part of, I guess, the new regime as you know, people now come in. You know, when I came into the league in 2012 with the Rams, Jeff Fisher got the job, and there were a lot of people that we watched on OTAs that were no longer there at the start of or minicamp, I should say, that were there at the start of OTAs once rookies came in. They cut a lot of guys, and so, you know, when that happens, man, like Jerraud said, you have an idea as the season goes along. When you start to lose, you know, changes naturally will happen, whether that's during the season or the off season. Changes will be made. When you win, everybody benefits from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are job opportunities, there's new contracts, like everything is going well. But and as players, you understand that. And I mean, obviously we want to win because we want championships, but we want to win also to allow guys to get paid, to, like, you know what I'm saying, not have all these drastic changes. You know, honestly, like, nobody wants to play for a team that you know has a different coach every other year. You know, you're under a different coordinator. Like, you don't want to go throughout your career that way. And so, I mean, I think for us, like, you know, as I said earlier, man, it just comes down to the leaders keeping it tight. Us, you know, making sure that everybody has that right frame of mind when they enter the building. First and foremost, starting on Wednesday, understanding, you know, what the task is at hand, and we're just focusing week to week, man. Just going 1-0. The same thing that Frank preached to us. That's true. Like, we stand on that, and we have to go out there, man, and just get to work. That's the best way to honestly solve it all is your preparation, your work, daily deposits, man. That's how I like to call it. Each and every day, what you put in is what you get out. So when we show up tomorrow to work, you know, that's the first day of going in and cashing in.
Next week's episode for reviewing the game will be interesting because, we're also going to talk about how, practice and everything else was throughout the week. I think would be a good way of kind of diving into how Saturday is running things. And I think that's going to be a really good episode. Can't wait to talk to you and Jerraud and maybe a guest. If we can get another guest on here next week, that'd be absolutely awesome. Get another outsider's opinion. But thank you guys. It was a wild last 24 hours, but we got a little bit of optimism right now. We got some new changes, so you don't know what's in store for the future. Hopefully things turn out to be on the positive side and we can get this train back on the tracks and rolling. All right. Thanks so much, Rodney, Jerraud. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And until next time, as usual, go Colts.
Do you believe?